Welcome, everyone, to Bush's Chicken. Let's get a round of applause for Bush's for hosting us. Of course, Bush's, of all of our sponsors, hosts the most numerous of the podcasts.
Do you eat ketchup?
Trivia question.
Do you eat ketchup on your chicken?
Very rarely.
Man,
Only if I only have ketchup.
they do. That's weird, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it has to be gravy
Okay.
for me.
All right.
Grace,
Or
Texas.
like if it's wings, I can go with some kind of wing sauce that might be ketchup-like, but it's not ketchup.
All right. There's some
This
of
is
those kids,
Texas. You use gravy.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
kids are eating chicken over there with ketchup on it. It was just odd to me. So, all right.
Okay, well, I'm going to shout out to our other sponsors because we rarely do that on the podcast, and we should. And they include Wingstop, McCoy Agency, that's the Farmers Insurance, Stephanie Biggs with Blue Door Realty Group, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, Mighty Fine Burgers, Shakes, and Fries, Amy Maddox with Allstate. She's been supporting Leander Sports for a while
Yeah,
now.
a long time.
James Henderson with American Pacific Mortgage. James, I will be calling you about that $5,000 in closing costs. Milo Aquatics Pool Service, Big Swig Water, and then Earl and Janice Lott. We want to thank all of those sponsors for contributing to Lion football this year. Let's give them a round of applause, guys.
Thank you, sponsors.
Come on, you guys in the back need to get a little bit more excited.
Dawkins.
Okay, Coach, heading into the probably one of our rivals, I believe, Vandergrift.
Well, it's not a like that old adage like the Bulls played the Knicks. They said it was a rivalry. It's not a rivalry till you win.
Right.
So they're good. They're real good. They're probably the best defense we'll face all year, which includes Cedar Ridge and Hendrickson. They're real good. Offensively, they're kind of a lot like Westwood. They'll run the ball. They got some kids that can run. Their O-line's pretty decent, and they got a receiver that's pretty decent. And so they run the ball pretty good. All of a sudden, you load the box and they throw one-on-ones on the outside, which is kind of like everybody's offense now. I mean, it doesn't change too much. Everyone kind of run the same blocking schemes and all that stuff, which we don't. People think we're predictable, and we're not. Every week, I'll get a phone call or email from a coach from another school saying, we just never had a grasp on what you were doing. The Round Rock coach was like, we still don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Anthony Wood before the game was like, man, I've run this offense before. It's so, you think you got it and you never do. And if you look at our scoring per quarters, it's pretty balanced. And so there's no, you might get us once or twice with a stunner like that, but if we just, it's like, like they say in that movie, it's like Novocaine. Eventually it comes on and it works. And,
Right.
You catch
Put you
them.
to sleep.
So,
Right.
Westwood had a little success kind of looping their tackles, and then Dotson scored. Dotson scored about a 21-yard touchdown, and that was into that. Then the outside, the veer play worked pretty good with Rashad, and then we ran midline and we scored with that. So we scored on, 4 different plays with our 4 touchdowns we scored on was 4 different option plays. So
Yeah, most of the time we stop ourselves.
yeah, you know what? We had 1 turnover, and we only, our penalties were the lowest for the year. We only had 5 penalties for the game, and that includes offensive, defensive penalties.
Okay.
So we only had 3 penalties for the game.
They were just at bad times.
The first 2 were in the first drive,
Yeah.
and like that. And then we had a holding. The holding was on the punt. So really, we only had 2 offensive penalties, and we had a PI on AJ, which was probably a pretty good play by AJ. He got beat and he grabbed the kid, which is probably pretty good.
Yeah, it saves a touchdown.
No, it's real smart on their
Yeah.
part. They get beat and they grab them. It's better than, you're right, than giving up the easy ball. So that was our lowest for the year. And usually we average about 6 to 8 penalties a game, which is much lower than last year. We were about 12 to 15. So they're starting to understand and grasp all that stuff. We're just so young and so small on defense. And, we fight our behinds off every week.
Yeah.
And, they gave, I think I was talking to Coach Ramsey, and they had the most third downs this year. They forced the most third downs this year. So, there's progress there. It's just we had some, Drayton was sick, and, we're moving kids around, and we took Loof and we moved him outside back. We moved in. Xavier was playing offense and defense, and Loof was playing offense and defense. So it's hard to try to get to a lot of those good players in good positions where they can get them the ball and actually stop people also.
Loof looked like he really liked the contact out there on the defensive side.
Yeah, he did pretty good, and then then he just he probably played close to 80 plays.
Wow.
And so he played almost every play on defense, and then he played about 20, 30 plays for us on offense, and it's Xavier. We're like Xavier too, but Xavier's quick, and he's real good on the option part of it. But if we run at Xavier, he's just so tiny. Some of those other kids. So Loof gives us a little bit bigger body at the point of attack, and we can get the ball to Addison then. So that helps also. We kind of balance our offense.
Yeah, offensively, I mean, you definitely have a lot of weapons. So I can see as an opposing team trying to figure out who's going to be the guy, right? And you can't. I mean, obviously, Rashad Carter, he's going to do some damage regardless of what he's doing.
Well, they got to decide who they can kind of not dictate, because we have ways around that and we have answers. You can, if our triple option, you can say, all right, Rashad's not going to carry it, and that was kind of what McNeil said. And so we run our outside zone option then, and then we run just our quarterback regular runs and stuff like that. So there are ways, that we know it's coming, and we have answers for it. And, we just got to execute sometimes,
So are you starting to put in a little, a few more wrinkles here and there now that you've gotten to this point?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to brag on them. I've been calling plays for about 8 weeks, and Coach Thompson, I say I've been calling them. I've been sending them in. I called the majority of the plays, but as the season wore on, he called more and more plays. So I think it was against McNeil. He probably called 70%. And I said, all right, it's time, big fella. And so he called last week. And there's a little bit difference. You can tell, you go out there and you watch us, and he's more of like, he likes to call the regular runs rather than options. So I was like, whoa, let's get back to what we do here. And, he's a really good coach. He's really talented and really smart, and it's fun watching him grow and become a better coach.
We probably threw a little bit less.
Yeah, we threw 2 passes, and so I hear the fans all the time. So I was turning around with my palms up, going, "What the heck? Why aren't we throwing more?" So, yeah, we did. We completed 1 of 2. I think for the year we've thrown the ball 40 times, but they showed me on Max Prep we have moved up to the 7th ranked rushing team in the state. And usually, and that's pretty impressive with what our kids have done. So they've done a real good job, and our O-line is real. Probably as good as Rashad is, our O-line is probably
it always starts
as a
there.
unit. It's as good as Rashad's been.
And they've definitely been really impressive to just watch them go against some of the bigger, faster guys, and kind of number 80 last week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
he was a monster.
8 was big too, man. I shook. He's the only. I mean, we play a lot of good players. He was the first kid this year that I went over and found him, because he played all 4 D-line positions, and it was like. So that was my job on the sideline. I was like, all right, he's out, run option, So, but he was a really good. I found him after the game. He was a good player. But seriously, the RO line, they come off the ball. They're physical. Riley got hurt, but the rest of those guys have been playing every down, and it is physical. It is hard, and I seriously, as good as Rashad's playing, they're as good as a unit right there. So, and Rashad would be the first one to tell you that.
Okay, now you had mentioned Xavier Terry a little bit earlier. He's been returning kicks as well, and I've noticed teams have started trying to kick away from our returners.
Yeah, it's and Terry's pretty fast, and
but no matter who we put back there now, they kick away from them.
They try it.
They do, and it's not. I wouldn't say they're good. And Terry's pretty good athlete. And Addison's a good athlete, but it really, even we had Keon back there, some other players back there. I think we do a real good job on special teams. Coach McLean is our special teams coordinator. He does a real good job kind of scheming it up, and it's really, we don't change much or get extravagant. It's the kids willing to do it. And so they're coached real hard. That's the first thing we do every day is special teams. We have a special teams meetings on Monday. And so they take a lot of pride in it, and we put the kind of our best kids out there.
It's an area that has been a strength for us, I think, all season.
Yeah.
Whether it's the kicking, return game, whatever, special teams has been one of those things that when we've been able to display it, shine a light on it, it's performed pretty well.
Yeah, I would say for the year, I agree. Last game we had kind of hiccup, on a punt, the ball got kind of rolled back there, and we, usually Eli's real good about fielding those and getting those off. That's rough. It took kind of a weird hop on that turf, and they got good field position, and we got a blocked extra point. We keep having to move people around on field goal PATs because you need some bigger guys, and so we have to use defenders. And sometimes, Weinigert, he's on the IB program, so he's there one day, he's there not. So it's tough finding those guys reps and stuff like that. But they're all willing to do it. So.
Yeah, and it's been interesting to see how you've kind of moved some of the guys around, whether it be by, have to situation, and then obviously some of it's because you're trying to get the best guys in the best positions, and it's been effective to see some of the changes.
Well, that's true to our coaches and the kids. You know, like if you looked at us in the spring, we had Tay and D'Angelo Dowdy that was playing the wing, and then McDaniel and Caleb Rude kind of had to fill in, and they did a good job. And then Caleb's shoulders. He dislocated his shoulder again Friday, and then they put it back in place, and they iced him at halftime, and he went back out there. So that kid's real tough. And McDaniel turned a high ankle sprain. So we're continuing to we're not trying to experiment, but we're trying to get those guys to function. And
there's some surprising depth at running back.
Yeah, there is, and that's a tribute to to kind of the offense we run, and to get the ball in spaces, some guys. And I brag on Rashad, but he's done a real good job making decisions, and he's and it's we talked about a little bit about being selfish today in practice, and if you're selfish on defense, it ends up looking like a touchdown. If you're selfish on offense, it ends up negative plays. And Coach Thomason kind of charts our negative plays, and there's less than 5 every game.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking penalties. I'm talking about plays where we get negative yardage, and we can do that. We're rolling pretty good on offense.
Yeah, you really seen the maturity with Rashad in terms of how he handles the ball, especially on the pitch.
Yeah, he looks smooth, doesn't he?
And I mean, obviously the running is just in a league of its own, really. But the way he moves, the speed, it's you can't tell what exactly he's doing, and the next thing you know, he's 10 yards down the field.
Yeah.
But just that ability to pitch, and when he's making that decision, has been key to so many big runs, especially when it's being pitched out to Addison, who's got that speed on the outside.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Addison, when we run behind Addison does a real good job too. But what we do, it's not easy. You have to kind of train your eyes, and if you look at some of our pictures, you see his eyes on his dive key, and his eyes will change his pitch key, and that's not easy to do. And he does a tremendous job. He trusts his blocking, and he does. He's got his footwork down. He's smooth. He's real smooth. And all those quarterbacks are. Garrett's pretty smooth. He came in against McNeil, and he did look good. And then on the JV, Choto and Kason Wells, they kind of go in and out, and they're doing a good job too. They're a real good job.
Both of them have improved a lot.
And the freshmen, man, it shocks me how good sometimes how they read and they're kind of grasping it. That freshman Parrott's doing a good job, and Stevens, the other quarterback on the B team's doing a good job too.
So obviously, sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
So obviously, you're gonna have a good speech for the seniors this next week.
Yes, sir.
And what do you have to say to all the underclassmen?
Well, we talked about
this last week.
That's such a great question, and we talked about their last home game about playing for those seniors, and here at Leander, since I've been here, it's never been an issue because they are. I mean, it's not just we don't just say brotherhood, we don't just say family. They really are. They really do care about each other, and they want to play well. And you'll see, you'll see them, pick each other. If you watch us celebrate, there's 10 guys running right there, and it's even extra point. Doesn't matter how we do it. There's a lot of people, and they believe in each other, and they love each other. And so it really is. It's one thing to say family. It's another thing to be family. So, and this last game, I'd like to come up with something good. I probably don't have to because they know what they're playing for. They know, and I don't. Vandegrift's such a good program, and Drew does a great job over there. But I've caught him a couple of conversations going, talking about Stony Point and district championships. I'm like, yeah, we're not taking a knee here, and
Right.
He's oh no, coach, so you're not doing this. So I think, and he asked a lot of questions. He asked a lot of questions. I talked to him quite a bit. Asked a lot of questions about Rashad, and he's watched a lot of our film, so he knows this is an issue. And we've got plenty of film on them, and he probably doesn't know the film I have on him. So.
Well, and for the seniors, it's the last opportunity for these guys to get any film if they want to continue to play beyond, your last dress rehearsal for film. You talk about the selflessness offensively and defensively and what that results in. And that kind of advice carries on for those guys that are looking to play at the next level and really in life.
Yeah, and it's hard, because they're not getting the results they want, and that's what we battle every day. And I got Mr. Zeno. I talked to Mr. Zeno. He handled the mayor the other night, and he's like, you are making a difference. You are, and it's tough to see the results from the coaching standpoint. I can see him play better. It's tough to see our results. It doesn't matter from when I was at Cedar Park or Stony or Deer Park, and tough to see those results for a while. And hopefully, that I see it in our coaches making the impact. Hopefully, we all are. 5-10 years down there, we always talk about being a good man, being a good husband, being a good father. So, hopefully, we're making a difference there.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Well, we get Coach Williams tonight.
Williams, man.
And looks like he's finishing up his meal there.
He's a true Lion, man. He's been around, and I love Coach Williams. I know he loves the Lions. He loves me, and he's a big support of our program. I'm real happy that he stayed with us.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
So we'll bring him on up. Thanks,
Yes,
Coach. Maybe you can compete with him in trivia. You don't compete. You don't want to do the trivia. We'll pick a couple of kids out of the audience for trivia.
He needs,
Well, Coach, welcome to the podcast. I think this might be your first interview.
Yes, sir.
And you've
Save
been
the
around.
best for last.
That's right. You've been around for a long time to be dodging interviews like that.
12 years.
12 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I can remember all the way back when my oldest was in middle school, coming over to games and seeing you out there on the field, and we got to know you over the years. Been real happy with all of my kids who've played on teams that you've been a coach on. They all had great things to say about you. How about telling us a little bit about your time at Leander? What brought you to Leander, first of all?
Well, what brought me to Leander, first of all, was honestly the electrical program that I run there. And when I got out of school at A&M, coached at A&M Consolidated for a handful of years. And then I decided to get out of education. I pursued a career in the electrical industry, and I spent about 14 and a half years as an electrical contractor. And then I got a call, I guess around August 24th or so back in 2007, and Larry Brown, the guy who actually started the electrical program at Leander High School, had passed away back in March, and they couldn't find a teacher. So to make a long story short, I ended up being hired the Thursday before school started back in 2007.
Okay.
So I started out teaching the electrical program, and the first week that I was there, Sandra McLaughlin, who was my supervisor at the time, she was the transition coordinator. She took me down and introduced me to Coach Gideon, and then the rest is history.
You've been doing it ever since?
Been doing it ever since.
Now, about the electrical program, you take a lot of pride in that as well as the football team. In fact, it's probably right up there at least,
Absolutely.
if not on the same level, maybe even a little bit
Absolutely.
further. And there's competitions involved with that as well.
Yes, sir.
Talk about some of your talent on the electrical program, and who are the up and coming stars. Because that's it's a field there's always a shortage of help.
There is. There's about a 40% shortage right now, and they predict by the year 2022 there'll be a 60% shortage.
Wow.
Not just electricians, but all skilled workers.
Right. So all you guys that don't necessarily think college is for you, look at their trade. It's serious.
Absolutely. And what I tell guys, because a lot of times I'll get guys in there and go, well, I'm not going to be a stinking electrician or electrical engineer anyway. What am I in this class for? And then I asked them, I said, well, are you going to own a house one day and have a family? They go, yeah. I said, well, if you have an electrical problem, wouldn't you rather know how to fix it yourself or pay me $150 an hour to do it?
No,
And
I'd
then
rather
that
learn
usually
how to
gets
do
their
it myself. Yep.
Well, and it's always really good to have a backup plan,
Absolutely.
because you can only get paid so much as a geologist.
That's right.
Well,
A school teacher and a coach, too.
Now, honestly, electricians make a lot more than
Yeah,
many of the
absolutely.
people who get their standard degree at the university. In fact, I kind of look back and think, man, maybe I should have considered that trade. My oldest son's,
Right.
working on his journeyman, so. A little regret looking back because
I get that a lot. I get that a lot from
And
teachers.
less debt also.
Yes.
Well, I was fortunate enough not to accumulate much debt, but now, how do you balance that? You know, the time you spend in the electrical program to the time, because football is it takes 16-hour days
Yes.
during the season at least,
16-hour days during
and
the
probably
season.
10 to 12-hour days in the off season sometimes.
Absolutely. The way our schedules are set up, the block schedule helps tremendously because my first year students, they're in there for a single block, which is an hour and a half. But my advanced and my practicum students, my second and third year students, they're in there for a double block. So fortunately, we were able to get about 95% of everything we need to do as far as coursework, curriculum, hands-on training, as well as our project preparation and competition preparation for Skills USA. So that double block class really helped with that tremendously.
Definitely. Now, does that competition time kind of overlap with any of your coaching?
It overlaps a little bit with golf,
Okay.
but being the assistant in golf it's not that big a deal if I have to miss a golf tournament.
What's your handicap?
Probably now I don't know. I hadn't picked up a club because of my knees and back in about 2 years, but I used to be about a 15.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty
I used to be pretty good.
Yeah, that is good.
I'd probably say it's probably about 50 now. I don't know. I hadn't picked up a club honestly in 2 years.
So how many coaches and teachers ask you for electrical advice on a daily basis?
Not on a daily basis, but I would probably say on a weekly basis. Yeah, there's two right there. I think I got a job to do from Coach McLean as soon as the season's over.
Oh, good deal.
So, yeah, I get it a lot. And what I get a lot of is one of the things you asked me earlier that I was most proud of. I have a student who graduated 2 years ago. He works for a company called Strike Electric down in Houston, and he's making $93,000 a year as an apprentice.
Right.
So,
That's more than most head coaches.
he makes more than probably everybody on Leander High School's campus except maybe a couple.
Yeah.
So he's
I
doing
agree.
pretty good.
Well, and that it's something that's not really advertised as much, and almost on a societal level, we've kind of pushed kids towards 4-year universities.
Yep.
For good reason, but not considering the effect it's had on the trades, and
Exactly.
and so there's always going to be a need for plumbing. There's always going to be a need for HVAC. There's always going to be a need for electrical.
Absolutely.
Everybody moved to the high tech computer industry. Well, none of that high tech stuff works without those other three things.
There you
So,
go.
Can't change the toilet. You don't know how.
I've never seen a computer work without electricity.
No, that's right. Or air conditioning for
Or
that
air
matter,
conditioning.
because it'll overheat.
That's right.
And then the operator needs the other part, the
Yeah.
plumbing.
Yeah.
So you got to have, and some computers are water cooled, so you'd even need plumbing for that.
There you
So,
go.
Okay, well, Coach, we're going to let you off the hook here. Before I do, though, you mentioned you went to A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you born?
Brady, Texas.
In Brady. Okay, so you're nearby.
The true heart of Texas.
Is that right?
The geographical center of Texas is about 13
Waco
miles.
likes to claim that it's the
Yeah,
heart of
and I
Texas.
think Waco says that because they're on the left,
Right.
where the heart is. But
Heart's really in the center. It just faces that way,
exactly.
so.
The geographical center of Texas is Brady, Texas.
Okay, I'll take your word for
Yeah,
that.
well, technically it's about 13 miles outside of town, but that's as close as you're going to
you've
get.
been
Close.
been in Texas your whole life, then?
Yes, sir. I've been in Texas my whole life.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
No,
anyway.
I'm married to a Louisiana girl, and going there to visit's long enough for me.
That's right. That's good food, though.
Yeah.
The Cajun food.
I always
is good.
tell her it's a different country. It's not another state.
It is.
They're
It
in
is
their
kind of like a different
own
country.
little world over there.
Especially you get in the Cajun parts
Yes,
of the
sir.
state.
Yeah.
It gets bad.
Which part of Louisiana?
She's from Winsboro, which is about 45 miles southeast of Monroe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the northeast part. She grew up on a farm in northeast Louisiana.
She do all the cooking.
Well, I can do pretty good myself, but not near as good as she does. Yeah, she cooks pretty well, can't you tell?
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
I got the same problem. Okay, well, I'm going to just call out a couple of kids and make them come up and do do trivia if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's go. We need a couple of seniors. Who's ready for some trivia? Weingart.
No, he's a junior.
He's a junior. All right. Rashad, let's go, Rashad.
He said what?
Come on up, Rashad.
I have some really tough ones,
Yeah,
too.
and then there we go. And Potter. We got a defense versus offense. There we go.
Got some
All right,
tough
Coach,
ones.
if you just walk out here, we're going to let these guys get in here.
Okay.
Well, you don't really have to know the answers. You just got to guess. Because most people probably aren't going to know the answers to these questions. All right. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Y'all getting excited for the game?
I am.
All right, here we go. Let's see. So this is kind of
Who?
yeah, you gotta show
It's
some
just my
enthusiasm.
voice.
He's just smooth. He runs smooth, talks smooth. That's what he does. All right, so this is some general knowledge questions, and they're not all that easy. So I'll warn you. We're gonna play one first to five. We're gonna ask we'll ask the question. So if you miss it, it'll go to you. So we'll just move on, then we'll go to the next question. How many languages and dialects are spoken by people all over the world? Is it A? We'll go to you first. A, 6,000, B, 9,000, C, 4,000, or D, 1,000? How many languages and dialects are spoken by people all over the world?
I'm gonna go with
A is incorrect.
I'm gonna go
A.
with
Closer.
C.
C is incorrect. All right, well, we're off to a good start.
Was it D?
It was B, 9,000.
Okay,
I was gonna guess B.
I don't know.
Okay, approximately how many people speak the Chinese language? Is it A? This is going back to you. Is it A, 1 billion? B, 1 million? B, 100,000?
Wait,
Or,
there's
sorry, C. Or D, 1,000?
wait, say it again.
B, 1 million? A, 1 million? B, sorry, I messed up. A, 1 billion? B, 1 million? C, 100,000? D, 1,000?
B.
That is incorrect.
A.
That is correct. That's a lot of people.
It is. China is.
Popular.
Okay, the English language. I can't even speak. The English language has more than how many words? Is it A, 4.5 million? B, 45,000? C, 4,500? Or D, 450?
Is it
That
on-
goes to you. Yeah, he got the next last one right.
Okay, can you just give me the answer one more time?
4.5 million, 45,000, 4,500, or 450?
A.
A is correct.
Watch how I come back.
That's a lot of words. How many do you know? How many words you know? You don't know?
At least
I don't
10.
either.
I know.
Okay. The oldest Indian language is Telugu, Hindu, Tamil, or Punjabi? Punjabi.
Hindu.
That is incorrect.
What were the other ones? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't either. Telugu, Hindu, Tamil, or Punjabi?
Punjabi.
That is incorrect. C is the answer.
Dang.
Come on, dog.
These are hard. I had to print these out right before I left the office, so I'm
Punjabi.
trying to find some that are somewhat easier. Let's see. Who developed the smallpox vaccine? It's about learning, by the way. This isn't about what you know. Who developed the smallpox vaccination? Is it A, Edward Jenner, B, Alexander Fleming, C, Albert Einstein, or D, none of the above?
This is me.
Yeah,
B.
that's incorrect.
A.
That is correct. All right. We're in business now.
Dang.
All right. Euclid was a Greek mathematician, contributor to the use of deductive principles of logic as the basis of geometry. C, propounded the geometrical theorems, or all statements are incorrect. You're going to have to guess because I'm not repeating that.
No, who?
That went to you.
D.
D is correct.
That's what I was trying to get.
So we are tied up at 2. Exactly.
You have to explain your answer in writing.
Okay. Galileo was an Italian astronomer who, that's to you, A, developed the telescope, B, discovered 4 satellites of Jupiter, discovered the movement of pendulum produces a regular time measurement, or D, all are correct.
D.
D is correct. This is tiresome. 3-2.
No,
All
I'm not. I'm in all basic classes.
All right, this is to you. Marco Polo discovered Greenland, traveled through China, India, and other parts of Asia, traveled around the Cape of Good Hope, or discovered Canada. Marco Polo discovered Greenland, traveled through China, India, and other parts of Asia, traveled around the Cape of Good Hope, or discovered Canada.
B.
B is correct. All right. 3-3. All right. We got to end this soon. First one to 5. Let's see. Who was the first to sound the strait, reach the Philippines, and name the Pacific Ocean? Was it A, Ferdinand Magellan, Jacques Carter, William Janzoon, or Vasco da Gama?
A.
That's hard. A is correct.
That was what I was going to pick.
That's exactly what I was thinking. All right, here we go. Magellan. Are you gelling with Magellan? Who discovered Australia? Was it Eric the Red, Leif Erikson, William Janzoon, or none of these at all?
None of these.
That is incorrect.
Can I get the answer choices again?
Who discovered Australia? Eric the Red, Leif Erikson, William Janzoon, or none of these?
I think it's none of these.
Janzoon is correct. He is the winner. Thank God. Give it up to Rashad. That's why he's quarterback. Smartest guy in the room. Yeah, you got to come get a prize. Got to get a prize. Oh, we'll wait till after the show. We got to dig it out.
Okay.
Those were difficult.
Yeah,
To say.
they were very hard.
Well, and they weren't wrote correctly either, so had to kind of.
We may have to break out just a Trivial Pursuit box or something.
something a little easier.
So that's a little difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have sub-varsity at Bible. That's going to be the JV, right? And the freshmen are headed out to Vandergrift. That's on Thursday night, both of those games. And then the varsity will be at Vandergrift on Friday. Please try to make it out to Vandergrift for the game. We don't have live video because it is Friday night, but there will be replay of the upset come Saturday.
Go Lions.
Go Lions. We'll see you.